What? I understand I got a lot on my mind, a lot on my chest. That's why.
What's going on, everybody? Lloyd Jones with Indie Breakdown, the show that breaks down your favorite indie comic book characters, power, stats, and abilities, and get them ready for an indie versus matchup. So, with that being said, I need to share this in the group. We are finally launching the what you call it? The database, not the database, but the power scaling system that we have. 1 second. Oh. Let me do this proper here. I need to switch over to my... You know what I need to do from now on? So all we need 2 more people to follow the actual indie breakdown page, and then we won't be going live from the Midnight Comics page anymore.
That's crazy.
And then we'll be sorted out there. But hold on. So for those of you guys that are watching on the Midnight Comics side, well, I guess you're the only ones watching at the moment. Hold, please. Sharing to group. Boom.
Please, please.
Hold, please. Boom. It's database time. Bam. All right. Now that that's in the group. And I don't know why it still shows the Tales 1, Tales 2 Kickstarter as like the first comment on there. That shouldn't still be doing that. But neither here nor there. What's going on, everybody that's watching? As stated previously, Lloyd Jones with the Indie Breakdown. The show breaks out your favorite indie comic book characters' power, stats, and abilities and gets them ready for an indie versus matchup. We're finally here, finally about doggone time, opening the database up. You guys have talked about it, 50 million questions regarding it. And so we have caved. It is back. And we'll see if we get a good number of signups and stuff like that. There's a lot of fun ideas that we have as it relates to this database. And so, you know, all the events and stuff that you've seen in the past, the battles and all that other stuff, you may have seen some of the stories typed up, if you would, that we don't have an official blog on the Indie Breakdown website, semantics with the card site. But when you click on blog, it takes you to midnightcomics.org and you'll be able to see the blog posts and stuff there and be able to read some of the events that took place. And so a little bit more about that, and then we'll dive into the power scaling system here. But essentially what we did, okay, we had some events, and what we ended up doing is taking your responses. You guys had to essentially role play your characters. And so we took your responses and I typed it up and put it in the story format so you guys can actually follow along at what everybody decided to do with their characters in any given moment. And so, yeah, things like Incendiary's Rampage, the episode 2 with We Are the Future, episode 3 with Bug Problem. We also, the one that we did before we had the database, which is still kind of my favorite one because I think it was the most involved and interactive one, the Enter the Mother of Chaos event. So plenty of different things that we had in the background as it relates to this, but we're trying to take things a step further with the Indie Breakdown, which again, once you get into the database and stuff like that, you'll start getting more and more of that information because again, we don't want a whole bunch of confusion and honestly down talking the ideas that we have before we actually put it in motion. One of the things that we want to do is if you get into the database, then you can have a conversation about what some of the events and ask those questions if you would. But anywho, before we start talking about the events, the battles, and actually getting I do want to go back to doing a official kind of a battle system or scoreboard, if you would. There was a point in time where we were kind of keeping tally of who's winning the matches, so on and so forth. But we have 6,000 people in here, right? And so if everybody's dropping a character and stuff like that, and they're not in the database, it's just these one-off characters and it's just those exhibition matches, stuff like that. It's a lot to keep up with. So if we do like a match of an official match or 2 a week, or maybe keep it to 2 a month or something like that, to really hone in on them, give the creators time to really hash it out, talk about the characters, for you guys to ask the questions and learn more about the characters, give them time to drop pages and feats and all these different things. I think that'd be good. One of the several other things I want to do with that, we talked about it before, but you guys saw where we worked with some artists to get I think it was a Vorley and Glow Flow I forget the other one's name, but there was a matchup where we asked an artist to basically work on an image of the battle and stuff like that. Not showing who won or lost, just kind of one of those generic, almost mid battle esque uh, posted stuff. So one of the things I want to do when we get to the point of closing the database and having our roster that we have, what we want to do is we'll have the match, have you guys hash it out, talk your trash and stuff like that for that week. During the course of that, you have an artist draw out the characters, so on and so forth, and then have somebody write it out. Right, that'd be pretty cool. And then rinse and repeat. Right, so I think that'd be pretty neat. But the key is to make sure that we utilize the database. The importance of that is to make sure that everybody can see what the character can and can't do. Because we've had instances where powers were made up on the fly, right? Old school Superman. All of a sudden, he's got ventriloquism and he's pulling solar systems with a chain over his back. You know what I mean? Like, it was just kind of random powers that kind of come up, and that's mainstream, right? But we've seen that happen here as well, and we've seen complaints about it, right? Obviously, right? When you start talking about getting into matches and you're like, oh, this is my character and I keep losing because of X, Y, Z, so many other different things. But I think, again, the reason for this database is so that not only are you giving it helps the creator just kind of have a clear view of what their character can and can't do, but it gives the potential fans and this community as a whole as well that opportunity to see what the characters can and can't do and ask actually informed questions about what the character could do going into a fight. Take a conversation right now. We have the Reaper versus Dark Spider happening right now, right? I don't have breakdown videos for either one of those characters yet, so I'm of no help at the moment with it, right? But if it said these characters are in the database, you wouldn't even have to necessarily ask the creators what can the character do. It'll be more of how well can they do this? How much training do they have in this, right? Give me a little bit more about the character's personality, right? But not necessarily a focus on, well, tell me some of the basic abilities he could do. What kind of armor is he wearing? That type of thing. All of that stuff would be answered on the card, on the database, and all that other good stuff. So with all that being said, what I want to get ready to do, again, the database is open. You head on over to indiebreakdown.com. I can share my screen really quick. Head over to indiebreakdown.com, and what you're going to want to do, you head on over to, well, the tab that says database. Scroll down, and you're going to submit your characters. Of course, it's $10 per character. Drop them in there. That allows us to keep the Adobe going to continue adding characters to the database. But again, there's some extra stuff that we're trying to do here within the group. That's only really possible if we come together in this facet. It also keeps the website going and stuff like that too, because that's been solely out of pocket. Give me a second, actually. Because I think I used my Everyone tab earlier for a different post. So let me do that for my Lloyd Jones really quick. Because I want as many people in here as possible. If you're in here, let me know. If you have a character that's currently in the database, we can start with you and make sure that we have everything updated accordingly. So to showcase you'll see the form, but the things that we're going to be covering in our tiering system, we call it our state of being power scaling system, right? Previous power scaling systems and power scaling system that you see all over the internet, right? You can go to Versus Fandom, you can look at the ones that Tabas had, you look at Death Battle, you can look at all these other different things, and it's kind of this redundant nature of, hey, my character is mountain level, my character is nuclear level, my character is this level, this character is that level, but then we go about restating the same thing on the stat side. And there's a redundancy in there, right? And so what I wanted to do as a means of kind of being different and coming up with something new that made a little bit more sense, I want to know on this side of things, on this tiering system, our state of being tiering system, if you would, I want to know what that character state of being is. Tell me who that character is as a whole, right? So sake of conversation, right? baseline here. You got 10A, right? You got 10A through 10C, but or more accurately, how you see it, or you're going to see it on there is 10C through 10A, with 10A being the top tier, right? And so that would be your Batman. That's peak human, master of mind and body at absolute human limits, right? That's what we're looking for, right? Where are they as a being that exists? And my this is going to get on my nerve here. It keeps going in and out. My other my other system that I had showcased on the screen over there. But not that I necessarily need it, because honestly, I can have you guys follow along with me by going to that indiebreakdown.com, going to the forum, and actually scrolling down and looking at it as well. What I do want to do is Testing. We're just gonna not use the Bluetooth. How's that sound? That's crazy work. Okay. Well, hopefully you guys can hear me just fine at this point. I've been talking my tail off for the last 15 minutes. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Wow, it's really not. Talking my tail off for the last 15 minutes. Testing, testing, 1, 2. Okay. All right. So, problem solved, and then it crapped out on me. All right. Technology is kicking my butt today. Technology is kicking my butt today. One moment. So, I hope you guys could hear me well now. Again, we've been talking for the last 18 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and cut it for right now.